Good morning. The date is February 27th, 2009. This is a deposition of Lee Anthony being taken in the matter of Zenaida Fernandez Gonzales versus Casey Anthony. Time is 9:04 a.m. We are on record. Counsel, please introduce yourself.
My name is John Morgan, and I represent Zenaida Gonzales. I'm here with my co-counsel, Keith Mitnick. And, of course, Zenaida Gonzales is here in the courtroom with us today.
And also, for Zenaida, John Dale may be in some point, also attorney for us.
Thomas Luca, attorney for Lee Anthony. Lee Anthony is present. Lee Anthony is the deponent in this matter.
Court reporter, please swear the witness.
Raise your right hand, please. You solemnly swear or affirm testimony you give at this time to be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Lee, my name is John Morgan. We've had a chance to briefly meet here this morning. Hopefully we can get through this morning. I'm going to ask you some fairly straightforward questions. If you don't understand the question, please just ask me to elaborate or to repeat it, and I'll be happy to do that for you. The one thing, because she's taking this down, you can't really nod or say you have to answer yes or no. So if you understand that.
Yes.
Yes. Okay. That's a practice question.
All right.
Would you state your name, please, for the record?
Lee Alexander Anthony.
And your address?
4937 Hope Spring Drive, Orlando, Florida, 32829.
Okay. Now, do you live there with your parents?
I do right now, yes.
Okay. How long have you lived there?
Recently, since the first week or so of January, just moved back home.
You just moved back home. Where did you live before that?
I had an address which was 4148 Eagle Feather Drive.
4148 Eagle Feather?
Eagle Feather, yeah. That's Orlando as well, 32829. It's like a mile and a half down the road. Okay. So I lived with one roommate, and it was about 2 years.
What were the names of those roommates?
Just one, Brian Lufkin. We had another gentleman on the lease, but he never actually ended up living with us.
Are you currently employed?
Mm-hmm.
And where do you work?
I already did it. Click and Park is the name of the company, and it's just right here downtown.
What is Click and Park? Sounds like a towing service. I hope not.
No, it's an online. It's a transportation company. We do parking management and things like that for special events. So, I'm a project manager for them. So,
how long have you worked at Click and Park?
It was December of, I want to say 2006 that I started with them. So it's been a couple years.
What made you move back home?
Help out my folks financially, and my lease had ended at my old place, so they asked me to move back home.
Who all lives there now with you? Just your folks?
Yeah, just my mom, my dad, and me.
Did you grow up here?
Mm-hmm.
Where'd you go to school?
I went from elementary school through. We moved down here when I was in second grade, so this is home. So high school, I went to Colonial High School for my final 3 years. I went to Winter Park in ninth grade.
Well, you're speaking to a Winter Park grad, class of 74. So wish you'd finished there.
I actually do, too.
We're here today regarding a matter that we filed against your sister, and I know it's difficult. And as no call, I just faxed the letter. Okay. It's a defamation lawsuit that we filed on behalf of our client, Zenaida Gonzales, and so we want to ask you some questions about that and maybe some other questions. When was the first time that you ever heard the name Zenaida Gonzales?
It was after the phone call that my sister and my mother had. When my mother heard, I would imagine when she would have heard the name first, when Casey has, she's been arrested at this point. So,
up until, and we'll come kind of back up and get into that. Up until that time, you had never heard the word Zenaida Gonzales, the name Zenaida Gonzales?
No.
Okay. Now, tell me about this phone call, and a lot of things I'm going to be asking you, you've probably talked about so many times, you may feel like I'm asking you, questions that everybody knows the answer to, so forgive me if I'm redundant or asking you the same thing over and over again that you've done before. The phone call that you're referring to is what phone call?
That was it was I can remember where I was in the house. My sister had already been put under arrest.
And the date was, do you remember the date of this?
It's okay. July, it would have had to be the 16th.
Okay. So July 16th, you heard of a phone call that your mom had with your sister.
Well, that was like the first phone call that my mother and my sister had after my sister was arrested. So she was in, and then she called the house.
She called the house from jail?
Casey did, yes.
Okay. And that phone call was recorded, I guess, by the jail authorities?
Yeah, because that's been released, and that was the first time that I ever heard that name, and then,
Okay. Now, and what did you hear? How did you first hear the name Zenaida Gonzales and that this was the nanny who had been taking care of Casey?
After my mom got off the phone, she, just told me what Casey said.
What did she tell you?
That she asked Casey, who has Caylee, who took Caylee, and she said Zanny or Zenaida Fernandez Gonzales.
Okay. And but did she call her Zanny?
Typically, that's how I would have heard it was Zanny.
So when your mom got off the phone, you're sitting there waiting. Who all was there? You?
Our house was pretty full at that point.
Who all was there at that day?
Myself, my dad, my mom, I believe Casey's friend Christina was there. We probably had a bunch of people in the house. That's all I can remember at this point.
So
Mallory was probably there, my girlfriend.
Is Mallory still your girlfriend?
Yes.
Okay. What's Mallory's last name?
Parker.
Where does she live?
With her parents. I don't know the address.
Okay. It's fine. So Casey's been arrested. You all are at the house. Your mom has a conversation. It's a one-way. You can only hear what your mom is saying. Are you listening to your mother talk back and forth, or are you all in another room?
Same room.
So you're hearing a one-sided conversation. And your mom hangs up the phone, and she says, what about Zenaida Gonzales in particular?
Just relays the name, because during the call there was no other substance. There wasn't any other real content at that point. Because actually during that time, Casey got frustrated with my mother. I talked to her for a very short period of time on that same phone call for a very short period of time, but our topic conversation was not, a Zenaida. And then
what did you all talk about?
We talked about. Actually, we just talked about how she was talking to mom. I was trying to get her to focus and say, we're all on your team here. You can't be short with mom, and we're trying to help you.
Was she jumping mom?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, they were very combative when they were on the phone. So when I got the phone, it was more just the phone was forced to me that, here, talk to your sister. Right. So it was
de-escalate.
Exactly. So that was the attempt, and that was I wasn't so successful. Right. So she ended up talking to her friend Christina, and then I wasn't on the phone with her again on that day. So. Okay.
So your mom comes up and she says, everybody says, what does she say? And she says the last that she saw Caylee she was with Zanny?
Yes.
And then they said the word Zanny and Zenaida Gonzales.
My mom had claimed that she had heard the name Zanny before.
Okay.
Zanny. At least she has said that to me before. I had never heard that name before.
But did your mom that night say that she had heard the name Zanny before?
I don't think she said it particularly that night. I don't think she would have acknowledged that
night. It was a new name to everybody.
That the whole thing, Zenaida Fernandez Gonzales. Yeah,
That was new to everybody.
that was definitely new to me.